Welcome to the QX Financial Podcast. Here we have Janko Castroferto, our CEO.
Hey Charlie, how you doing?
Great. Thanks for joining us today.
Got it.
So today we have a pretty cool topic. We're ending 2024, coming up on the beginning of 2025. So everyone is starting to think about the new year. Maybe you're starting to think about some goals. Uh, so today let's talk about some financial goals and the top 10 things you need to do now in order to set yourself up for a more prosperous 2025. So the end of the year, it's a great time to take stock of your financial situation, look back at what has gone on this past year, and come up with some actionable steps that you can take for the coming year. And remember, you don't have to do this alone. If you would like some help with this, you can always contact us, talk to a QX financial professional, and we can help make this go a little bit easier for you and set you up for a great 2025. So, Janko, would you mind jumping in with us?
Let's talk about that. This is such a great video such a great idea that the team had to do this video today. Because if you are watching this from the future, we're a week away from Thanksgiving 2024. So again, it's a great time, as Shadi is saying, to sit down and do some thinking over the next couple of weeks, and decide what is 2025 gonna look like. So we're gonna give you 10 tips of things that you can do, practical things to make sure that you have a great 2025. So let's start with number one, which is you gotta have a goal, right? It sounds like sounds obvious, but what are your goals, your financial objectives that you want to accomplish for 2025? Write them down. Maybe you guys keep a diary or you guys keep some sort of book. I highly encourage you to write them down. And if you're married or you live with somebody, share that with your partner and have common goals. If you live in a two-income household, yeah, take the wife, take the husband to dinner or to lunch and have a sit down and have a conversation about, hey, what do we want to accomplish? It might be reducing certain debts or finally pay off that car or buying a new one or saving enough for a particular event that you have down the road. Make sure that you do that. And the other thing that I will suggest when you're thinking about your goals, another good strategy that I was giving years and years ago that has worked well for me is don't just have an annual goal. Let's say, for example, that your goal is to save more money. Well, saving more money doesn't mean anything. Put a number. What is more means? How much more money you're going to have in your bank account in December 31st of 2025, right? So put a number, make it practical, make it easy to understand. And then on top of that, divide it by four, right? Make quarterly or maybe even monthly goals. So if you take your number, divide it by 12 months, hey, by the end of January 31st, I should have this to make sure that I'm on track. So when you divide your annual goals into smaller, more digestible bits and pieces, it becomes easier not only to stay motivated, but also to stay on track and actually achieve those results. So in summary, when you think about your goals, right, write them down, make them practical, put a number or a date or something that a target that you can get to, and then subdivide those goals into monthly and in some case even bi-weekly goals. So you make sure that you're on track. So you're not surprised in September that you're so behind because you never looked at it since January and now you gotta catch up. That will prevent you from doing that. The number two, idea number two will be to review your budget to make sure that your budget matches those goals that we're talking about. They have to be congruent, right? It's very easy for all of us to, hey, we just go to work, come back, get paid, pay bills, go back to work, get paid, pay bills. We all get into this cycle. And sometimes the budget gets out of whack a little bit, gets, out of proportion. So sit down and reprioritize your budget. What's important, what's not important. If you're not really watching Netflix, well, okay, it's time to let it go. Or if you are, then it's a good investment for you on your entertainment side. Start getting away from the things that you should not be spending money on. But everything starts in reviewing that budget. and then set one up. Okay, starting in January 1st or December 31st, this is the new reality. And just like I said in your goals, once a quarter, over a cup of coffee, over 10, 15 minutes, review it again. Make sure that your budget matches your reality. Actually, what you say is going to happen is actually happening, and that all is going to make your life easier. There's all kind of tools online now, from apps, from Excel spreadsheets, even banks now. Your bank apps, some of them even offering budgeting services now within the app. So this doesn't have to be a complicated project. You have a lot of tools to help you stay on track. And once again, if you decide to work with a financial professional, we can definitely give you more tips on the budgeting area. But suffice it to say, sit down, review it, make sure it's congruent with your goals, that what you're spending is taking you closer to what you want to accomplish, reprioritize, and then you're good to go. I'll let Shirley go into number 3.
Perfect. So our third tip for today is reviewing your insurance coverage. So spend a couple of minutes, gather together your health insurance, your car insurance, your home insurance, and your life insurance policies. Grab all of those policies, bring them together, and review those. If you need to sit down with an advisor or with your health insurance provider to kind of review that and make sure it still fits your needs, your current needs and anticipated needs, go ahead and do that. Now is a really great time to sit down and make sure that that insurance coverage is optimized so that you're not paying more than you should and that you have enough coverage to really make a difference with what you need. You can also look for opportunities to save, such as bundling policies together or even exploring new providers. For my family, we have a new driver in our home, a teenage daughter. So what are we going to be doing this month? We're sitting down and reviewing our bundled home and car insurance and seeing if this provider really meets our needs with a new driver or if we need to look at another provider. There's so many options out there. Definitely talk to someone if you need some help. Our number 4 tip for today is to double check your beneficiary information. This is so important, and so many people overlook this step. They never check it. They never go back and make sure that that information is correct. And that can lead to quite a few problems down the road if these beneficiaries are needed. So go back to your life insurance policy, your retirement accounts, even your bank accounts now tend to have a beneficiary on them. Even my Gmail account has asked me for a beneficiary. You know, so many things in our lives are digital right now. Almost all your digital accounts are going to need a beneficiary on it. Take a couple of minutes this month and go through your beneficiary information. Make sure it's got the correct person and make sure your contact information and their contact information is correct. You don't want something to happen and then to have your beneficiaries not be able to access those accounts because you never changed the information to match their new address. Number 5 tip for today is to review your estate plan or trust. If you don't have an estate plan or trust, maybe one of your goals for 2025 should be sitting down and putting together an estate plan or a trust. If you already have one of these, go through it, review it, make sure it's updated. You want it to make sure it reflects any changes that you had in your life, like any new kids, marriages or divorces, any new property acquisitions. You'll also want to verify power of attorney designations and any health care directives. You definitely want to make sure that if anything were to happen, you have your wishes all laid out and ready to go.
Exactly right. So before I go into number 6, last thing on the trust situation. That's the most common thing that we see, by the way, in our industry, that people buy a bunch of new assets and they're not in the trust. They just never added them. They never change ownership. They never change beneficiaries, and that can create a lot of problems. So once a year is enough. Once a year is good to sit down. Okay, we gotta remove something. Maybe we sold that car. Maybe we sold that vacation home. It's time to swap that with something else. talk to your attorneys, get it done. It should not be a problem. But that takes us to number six, which is maximize your retirement contribution, right? So if you're a business owner and you have an IRA or you have a defined benefit plan, or if you're an employee, you have a 401k, a 403b, 457, and you have not been making retirement contributions, don't forget that the tax benefits that you get, such as the deduction in your 401k plan and your IRA plans, are can only be taken in the year of contribution. So you cannot go into March of 2025 and ask the IRS to give you credit for your contribution of 2024 if it doesn't happen in 2024, right? So you have until December 31st to make those additional contributions. If you don't know if you should be putting more money or less money into your retirement plan, and you don't know what your ultimate number is that you should hit so you can have a successful retirement, that's what we do. You don't want to work with us? Find a provider out there that can sit down with you and actually go through your goals and the lifestyle you want to have, so we can come up with a target. What is our goal? What is the number that we need to hit to be able to fund the lifestyle that you want to have, right? So I know most people don't put enough money because they feel lost. Like, why am I doing this? Why am I putting all this money into these plans? But again, if you have a goal and you have a target, then things do get a little easier. So don't let those tax benefits go away. Or lastly, if you have long-term care plans and you're paying a premium, make sure you're keeping track of that. Some of those might be tax deductibles to those of you that itemize. So again, make sure you're taking advantage of everything the government is putting on the table for you to take advantage of. Number seven, within that, as you're funding these retirement accounts, also you have to make sure that they reflect the level of risk or investment profile that you want to have, right? We're not providing any investment advice in this video. This is not to be construed as investment advice in any way, shape, or form. But every person we know has a different level of risk. They have a different way that they want to diversify their portfolio, and maybe even different asset classes they want to be invested in. Maybe they don't have those options in the 401k, but they have it in other places. It doesn't matter what it is. All we're saying is make sure that you're sitting down, looking at your portfolio, and say, hey, is this diversification, does this allocation matches my goals and objectives? Does this meet my standards or performance of what I'm looking for? If it's not, let us know. We're happy to help you with that, or find yourself an investment advisor that can do that for you. But bottom line is, somebody needs to be looking at that portfolio. And probably it's not a good thing to look at it every quarter, maybe, but for sure, if you're going to be doing this right now, look at it, evaluate it, and then start making some decisions. I'll leave number 8 for you, Shirley.
Perfect. So number 8 on our list here is to plan for major life events coming up in 2025. So maybe you're engaged, maybe you're looking at having a wedding in 2025. If you are, congratulations. That's a really big step. You're going to want to make sure you have a financial plan to make sure that you can take care of the expenses revolving around that wedding. Say you are planning on relocating, maybe looking for a job in another state. Maybe you have some educational milestones, or you have a child going to college. Those things are major life events, and they can create major financial hardship if you don't plan for them properly. So make sure that you look ahead to 2025, identify any major life changes you anticipate, and make sure you can create a financial plan in order to be prepared for them and to support them properly.
And let me share with you my favorite one, which is, are you going to go on vacation in 2025? That's my favorite thing. What I discovered is that if you plan for it before it happens, and you get ahead of the expense, and it's less burdensome on you if you get ahead, right? Maybe you want to buy the tickets right now, and then 3 months from now you pay for the hotel, and then after that you pay for the meal. So when the vacation comes in August, everything is taken care of. And instead of being a stressful event and now you gotta come up with all this money, is way more enjoyable, right? And you can actually relax and have fun. And more importantly, you don't overspend because you already, pay ahead of our things. And a lot of the things that people fall prey into is the moment, right? Everything in the summer, they're on vacation, everything goes up in price because they know people are traveling. So now they're gonna overcharge you when you could have paid 50% less if you would have bought these 3 or 4 or 5 months before, right? So even for the fun stuff, you guys are gonna have vacations, sit down with your significant other, plan it, decide where you guys are going, and start moving in that direction. Make sure your budget reflects that, right? And be ready so that when the moment comes, everything is taken care of. You have nothing to worry about.
Great ideas. It's definitely a lot more relaxing when you know that you're going to come home and not have a huge bill waiting for you at home.
Indeed.
Great advice. Number 9 in our 10 pointers here is to review your tax strategies. So just heading into 2025, we get to look forward to tax time. Yay! With tax time, I know it's always my favorite time of year. So when we're looking at tax strategies, we want to make sure that you're optimizing your tax liability for the upcoming year. You'll want to look through 2024 and have a good idea of what you might be looking at in terms of your tax burden for this year. And you'll want to consult with your tax advisor to make sure that you are taking advantage of any tax saving opportunities, such as deductions, credits, or charitable contributions. Like Janko mentioned earlier, none of those things are going to matter if you make those changes in 2025. You're going to need to go through and make sure that you are making those contributions, you have those receipts, you have those deductions all in place now. And last on our list is to evaluate your long-term goals. Junko did a great job going over setting new goals for 2025. Look at 2024. How did it go for you? How closely did you get to your 2024 goals? Did you meet them? Did you exceed them? Take that into consideration, and how closely this year put you on target for your long-term goals, your 5-year goals, and your even 15, 20-year goals. If you didn't make very much progress on your long-term goals, then something needs to be readjusted in 2025. Take that into account and set yourself up for a 2025 where you can really make some progress for those long-term goals. We're talking retirement, maybe legacy planning, maybe business ownership, maybe putting children through college. Make sure whatever actions you take in 2025 are aligned with these bigger picture objectives. And if it means that you have to give up one vacation this year so that you're a little bit closer to that long-term goal, that's a choice that you can make for 2025. But make sure that you are incrementally, step by step, getting toward those long-term goals.
Exactly right. So let me tell you our reality that 99.89% of all of us in the country have to deal with. And that is we have limited resources, all of us, right? So it's not what you can kind of do, it's an issue of priorities. What's more important? What's a priority, right? And I'm not going to sit here to tell you what your priority should be. That's your discussion in your own household. But whatever those priorities are, make sure that your budget and your actions reflect that, as Shirley is saying, and they're congruent with you want to go. And that includes, as she's talking about, your long-term goals, right? If you have shorter-term goals that build on longer-term goals, that is powerful, because if you get to A, you're going to get to B, and if you get to B, you're going to get to C, and so on and so on. So for if you're under the age of 45 watching it like a retirement, why should I be thinking about that? Well, don't think of it that way. Think of milestones that you can have in your 20s, 30s, and 40s that are still taking you in that direction. Maybe the balance you want to have in your retirement account. It might be the assets that you want to own, like a home or other things that go up in value, or a combination of all those things. So you don't have to be a 27-year-old thinking about where you're going to be in 65. Actually, that might even be a waste of time, right? It's too long. But you can have much, much closer things that are conducive to that objective. Maybe lastly, one of those things is to talk to a financial person like us to actually sit down and help you figure out what are those milestones that you can put in there that will still take you in the right direction. So anyway, Thank you, Shadi, for sharing some of these tips with the audience. Of course, there are more than 10 things that you could do, but I think it's a great list to start with. If you have naturally questions or you need some support and putting all this together, we're here to help. Happy to have a free consultation with you. We can have a phone call, a Zoom meeting, and just talk to you about what you can do. So thank you, Shadi, for sharing all this information with the group.
All right, and thank you too.
Awesome. You guys have a great Thanksgiving, and let's make sure that we have a great 2025.